You feel me?
Oh, yeah.
I do.
Look, Schwab's struggling to open a bottle of, what is that?
Strawberry watermelon. You didn't get that from me.
Chug. We got a hot on that thing. All right, welcome to the Sports Porch Black and Gold Edition. If you're watching us all over the world on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on X, Fantasy Alpha Crowd is back in the house. Thank you for being here. And we dropped the show, the podcast, right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you get your freaking podcast. That's how we say it around here. Yes, it is. Anywhere you get your freaking podcast. Okay, boys. Well, what do we do on the show here? We like to talk about sports because we're from Pittsburgh and I'm a Pirate, and I like to talk about the Buccos because there's a lot to talk about the Buccos. But first, I want to tell you about the other stuff we're going to talk about. We're also going to talk about the Steelers, right?
I guess.
Well, I mean,
Chime in,
there's
boys.
not
Chime
much
in.
to talk about regarding the
about
Steelers, but yeah, we always talk about this.
Game 7 of the Stanley Cup
Game
tonight.
7 of the Stanley
Now
Cup.
you're talking the hockey Jesus language.
I am on the verge of winning my first ever NHL Stanley Cup bracket. I've never played.
I think you
with
probably
three
win
people?
anyways.
You're going to win out of 3
You think
people.
I won anyway?
No, because actually, I think you're in the same pool as my son, and he has more wins than you.
Okay, well, we'll talk about
But
that later.
you beat me, if that's any consolation.
You beat
It
one,
is a
you beat one person. in your
There
poll.
we go. That's
You beat the
awesome.
hockey Jesus.
We're going to have our Trader Joe's snack time. We're going to do what we're watching. We're going to have a hell of a lot of fun here on the porch tonight.
And we're on
Because
the porch.
as you
Sure
can see,
as heck
we are on the
are.
Greenfield porch. Yes, we are. We are on the Hockey Jesus porch in celebration of Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, which is big. It's huge. It's huge.
Huge.
It's huge. I got to tell you,
A.
the Oilers, McDavid, they're good. They're really good. You know, he scores the goals. He does that thing. What?
What are you
I
trying to
think
imitate?
there's something different in your cigar than
Yeah,
my
That's
cigar.
What were you trying to imitate?
I was trying to imitate Trump, but I wasn't doing a very good job of it. Obviously.
It was really bad.
I have not perfected it yet.
Good try.
Um,
Keep trying.
The Oilers are very good.
yeah,
They're fantastic.
there you go. That's better.
They're the best team that's ever played
Oh,
the game.
Edmonton, let me tell you, Canadian team, doesn't matter. It's good for the country.
I'll tell you,
Closest
Florida,
ally.
I'll tell you, the Floridians, good people down there in Florida. Not so sure about the Stannis, but good people in Florida.
Oh, you're funny.
He's
And-
got a better Trump than you do.
And of course,
Yeah.
you can follow the Sports Porch on YouTube at the Sports Porch Podcast. So let's talk about the Buccos right now. We're going to do that right away.
Let's get it over.
Okay.
Okay.
I said this last week, and I'm going to say it again. The time is now. The Pirates are wasting great pitching with a terrible lineup. And Schwaber, why don't you talk about what we were talking about before the show? Go over that lineup. Pull it out on your phone. Go over that lineup because a couple nights ago, Paul Skenes, 7 innings,
Well,
8
yesterday
Ks.
afternoon.
Yeah, it's 7 innings, 8 Ks, gave up 1 run. It got into a little trouble early, but great pitchers find a way to get out of that. His line was awesome. Now, Holderman came in. He didn't have a great game, but you can't expect a guy to be Nolan Ryan every time or whoever you want him to be every time he gets out there on the mound. They end up losing 3-1. Look, they had the whole game to score 3 or 4 runs. Now, I did see some sort of statistic that said the Pirates, are first or second in the major leagues
In support for Skenes. Yeah.
Well,
number
that
one.
and
Right.
also starting pitchers going into the 6th inning, and they have like this horrible record, and God, it's driving me nuts.
It's not horrible for the Pirates.
No. The record with their pitchers going into 6 innings
Yeah.
is bad.
I got you. Okay.
Because they can't score any runs. So talk about the lineup the other night, or is this tonight's lineup? Because they're playing Cincinnati.
No, I went back to yesterday's lineup.
Okay,
So-
let's talk about that.
So 6th through 9. So your last 4 batters.
6 batter. Okay.
Okay. Playing second base, Triolo is hitting 209.
Not great.
Not good. Sawinski playing left field. He's batting 170.
That's
Horrible.
awful.
Looks
That's
like
just
the
awful.
Schwab prediction. It's going in the Grand Schwabini's way.
Yeah, you predicted he'd finish the year under 200 last week.
And it helped your cause with the Skenes.
Yes.
Right. The Grandal, the catcher, is hitting 184.
He's a rental player, to be fair.
Okay, to be fair.
I don't think there's anything fair about this.
And then Michael Taylor, the center fielder, is hitting 192.
Yeah,
Yikes.
now
that's a terrible outfield.
The one thing that I would say about the lineup you just talked about is Nick Gonzalez usually plays second. And I don't know if he was hurt or he had a day off yesterday. He is batting close to 300. So usually he's in there.
He had a pinch hit appearance. He went hitless. He struck out. His batting average is down to 279.
Oh wow, it dropped fast. So
he didn't have a lot of
at bats.
Exactly.
Also, just in case you were just in case you were interested, also in the starting lineup, Olivares plays right field. It's hitting 224. Roddy Tellez is hitting 227.
Wow, he's come up a lot.
He has.
Connor Joe, one-time cleanup hitter.
Yeah, was batting 280.
Is hitting 239.
Yep.
Yeah, he's reverting back to his average.
He's reverting back to the mean. And keep Brian Hayes, who, I'll tell you what, he plays some darn good defense. But he's hitting 230.
Yeah, he is not the answer at third base.
There's only
give us the real guy.
There's only one player.
The man with the 19/20 game hitting.
Yeah, they have one player, Brian Reynolds, who and believe it or not, I mean, think about this. Think about how low his batting average had to have been to only be at 275 after a 19-game hitting streak. With multiple hits per games. But I'll tell you what, he does have 12 home runs, which is nice.
Yep.
So he's on pace to hit over 20.
Yep.
Probably 20 to 30. And RBI is 43. On base OPS of 809. So, he's a solid player.
He's a solid player. And that's what you want from a guy who signed a pretty good contract.
Right.
But the problem is he can't be your best hitter on the team.
Right.
And that's what he is right now. And that's the biggest problem for the Pirates. Everybody knows it. And everybody knows that the Pirates aren't going to go out and get anybody. So let's turn the page.
Well, he is so quickly. He's like, not quite yet, matey. So, I listened to Bob Nutting's comments the other day.
So far tonight,
he wants to sign like a fan.
So far tonight, through 2 innings, Pirates have no hits.
Yeah, I mean,
they got to go through their lineup at least once.
Look, what are they? 4 games under 500 right now, right?
3
games under 500. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about a team that has, and everybody keeps talking about this. If this team makes the playoffs, in a 5-game series with that pitching staff. Nobody wants to face them. Look, are they even going to make? First of all, let's take the playoffs out of the question.
Right.
Are Jones and Skenes even going to be pitching at the end of the year? They shut down Strasburg. They've got these guys on an inning count. I don't think they have them on an innings count per game. They just have them on a total inning count, and they don't want to push them too far. And that's just the way the game rolls this year. So at what point do you shut them down?
They'll be close enough. They're not going to be able to shut them down too soon. You know what I mean? Like, what does that mean? They missed the last 2 starts, maybe?
Yeah.
That's not really shutting them down.
This is a team who is hitting atrociously. I mean, let's just call a spade here, right? Atrocious lineup. And a fantastic pitching lineup, and they trot out against hold on, let me finish. They trot out against Tampa Bay a bullpen game. I mean, that's like just handing another game.
Yeah, they do a bullpen game every week.
Right, but at the on the other side of that, though, they talk about how they're in the race and how it's really important and how they want to see the pieces in place. And like you said last week, I have absolutely no faith that they're going to do anything at the trade deadline that means anything at all. And I don't even think it's building for next year. I think that Huntington, previous guy, I think that Nutting and Charrington are hoping beyond hope Well, maybe not Sherrington, because I think his hands are tied a lot by his superiors. But I think that Nutting is hoping that, like, you know, well, if this lineup can just be a little better, because the truth is, if the lineup was a little better, they'd be in a much better position. I don't think they're going to do anything worth note.
I think the year is working out just how Nutting would want it to work.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah. And why, as an owner, would you go against having a great season like they're having? Did you really just say a great season? No, by his standards. By his standards. Right. And his standards are this. He got a really good pitcher who's a phenom now. And it's putting people back into the seats. So that means more money for him. Why would he go and spend that? He's not going to. No. And the reality is they're probably good enough to be in it a little bit longer than they were last year, even though last year I think it was like up until the last week they were in it. But everybody knows they weren't really in it because they didn't have the pitching they have this year. And they don't have the hitting that they need this year. Not that they had hitting last year, but the pitching's better. So they're in a better position to be in it up until the end without adding anything.
Right.
So they won't, and they don't need to in order to keep people in the seats. What they have to guard against is getting rid of somebody that would upset the fans. And that's going to be the hard part for upper management, for the owners, because they always like to shed a little salary towards the end, people that they don't have to pay for next year or the year after that might be making double what they're making this year. That's what they do. That's going to be the hard part for this ownership group. Honestly, I don't think the head coach or the GM give two cares about how well this team performs. They're only listening to what their owners is telling them, and they're saying, stay in it, keep Skenes innings low so that we can keep him like this for the next 3 or 4 years so we can continue to put people into the seats. So if you think about it from the owner standpoint, they're having a great season, and he doesn't care about the fans.
Yo Carey is back on YouTube. Yoho Son says, better than the Cubs current. Yeah, well.
Exactly. That's all they care about. Just good enough to be better than enough of the other crappy teams.
One thing I will say, I'm not sure what the attendance was yesterday, but watching on TV, there seemed like there was a ton of empty seats yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was actually thinking, geez, like this is a Sunday afternoon game with Paul Skenes on the mound.
It was hot.
I figured if that was going to be a big attendance day.
Yeah, but it was like 94 degrees. So, you know, I think there might have been more people there and they were back underneath, you know, back having a beer.
I think everybody went to the Saturday game to get the Kutch bobblehead.
Yeah. That's why.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, maybe.
And they only gave away 20,000, but they sold 33,000.
I wonder if they tell you the attendance on these things.
Yeah, they do. It's usually at the bottom.
They will.
But my guess is it was probably like 28.5 or something like that. Because you're right. There are always enough in the upper decks. You can tell when a whole section's out that it's probably going to be about 5,000 to 8,000 less.
It's 29,026.
So yeah, that was the paying amount. Right?
Yeah, that's not asking.
So about 2,000 to 3,000 people said too hot.
Right.
No, thanks.
Right.
Yeah.
I've already seen Skenes pitch.
Yeah. Now, one thing we've talked about in the last couple of weeks that I've actually changed my mind on, I don't think is going to happen, is I don't think they're going to trade. And we talk about it. No other show talks about this, but it has been their MO, you know, trading Brian Reynolds. You know, I don't. That's not something they're going to do.
No, that's what they have to guard against.
Yeah,
but that's what they would have done.
That is something they would pull
because he's got a tremendous salary that Nutting does not want to pay.
That's right. But here's how that happens: they go on a 15-game losing streak, and that's back on the table.
Right.
Well, let's face it; they are
or a 10-game losing streak.
Right.
You know,
it's going to be hard for them to go on a 10-game losing streak with this.
That's exactly right.
And that's why they're better than last year, and that's a couple games better. So I'm just telling you, this is how it's going to roll the rest of the season. Think of it from the owner standpoint. I know none of us can afford to own a team. But I'm just saying.
Speak for yourself.
I'm just saying that if you were the owner of the Pittsburgh Pirates and you were as stingy as this son of a bitch, that you would be very happy with where the Pirates are right now.
I don't doubt that. I agree.
Here's what I would say, though. I'm not in complete agreement on the pitching. I think from a, just an eyeball perspective, it looks a lot better because you do have a number 1, a number 2, and a number 3 that are pitching very, very well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that is it. I mean, there's no 4, there's no 5. And, if let's just say if one of the 3 of the big 3 has a bad game,
right?
Well, that's you've got a chance of losing 3 games out of 5 every time.
That's true.
That's a good point. And injuries could show up also.
Right. So
somebody could get injured, pull a hammy.
And you're also talking about, taking Skenes out of the equation, a pitcher in Jones who was touted as being a good prospect and having a lot of talent, but is a complete surprise as to how great he is.
Right.
And then a guy like Keller who's delivering,
Yeah,
but
he's delivering.
But you're absolutely right.
But we also saw
Keller can fall apart.
The other thing, Keller fell apart last year. For all we know, at the end of the season, Jones at the end of the season could have an ERA of 4.05. I mean, who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a long season, and we're not yet to the All-Star break.
I just like the fact that Jones and Skenes, they're good friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's good.
I think that really helps the camaraderie in the locker room. And I just think it makes the team a little bit more like a team because before they didn't even have a superstar. Now they have a superstar.
Right.
They're starting to get that team vibe.
Right.
The question is, next year, can they keep it going? And then the screws will really be turning on Nutting because they're going to have to do something.
Yeah.
Because they're already going to be at that, we're in the wild card race. Next year, they need to be in the divisional race or fans are really going to lose their shit.
Yeah.
They really are. I mean, that's going to be next year to me is the big move that as fans, you have to decide whether or not you want to give that guy your money just because he hit it big with one guy. If he doesn't go out in the off season and go get a big name, and I'm talking about $100 million player, not just somebody who can fill the left field, like a top 3 prospect. Spend the money, then okay, now you're talking. This guy is real about wanting the win. I just don't think they care about winning.
Yoho's on YouTube says stingy bastards probably try to get Diaz cheating ass from the Mets. Did you see that? Did you see that?
It's something about the stickiness on his finger.
No, literally they brought Diaz in.
Yeah.
He got on the mound. The umps came out to do the glove inspection and immediately tossed him. And they showed a picture of his pitching hand.
Yeah.
It was covered with what has been called glazed donut stuff.
Okay.
Like they're like, how could he even walk out to the mound with all that shit on his hand? Yeah, it's like amazing to even think that he would leave, the bullpen with that stuff on his hand. Anyway,
no, I didn't see that. But that had been great to watch.
Yeah, one of the worst. He got a 10-game suspension right away. But I don't see them. Who's the guy on the Mets? Alonso.
Pete Alonso.
Alonso.
They're not bringing him in. They're not going to bring him in.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's not going to happen.
That's the guy. No, not as a rental. Sign his ass.
I know, but they're not going to bring in the guy from Chicago, who hit 38 home runs last year.
He's not
and was
good
injured.
enough.
He is good enough. That's the thing.
You need to go get a guy.
No, that guy
you got to pay him $25 or $30 million a year to play.
I get your point there.
That's the point.
I'm going to make a comparison here,
and I know they won't.
And I agree with you. I'm going to make a comparison here that's it's going to diverge at one point. So my beloved Baltimore Orioles, for the years that they were really bad, they touted turning a farm system around, prospects. Sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
That's all we talk about around here.
Yep.
Now, the difference is they brought their prospects up. They have a good organization because most of their prospects were spread all over the diamond. They brought them into the major leagues. They brought a new manager in who was young and could handle younger players. They brought in a couple veteran guys like Cedric Mullins who have a lot of talent, not superstars, but good players.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're no longer talking about their prospects. Mm-hmm. Okay. Their prospects are playing. The Pirates, all I hear about is their prospects, not just from the media,
but from the fans. You hear more on the radio and on the internet from fans talking about, well, we got this, we got this guy, we got Gorski, we got, who's the pitcher? Bubba Chandler.
Oh, yeah.
We got this guy, we got that guy. Listen, we're so conditioned to understand that the major league team is going to do jack shit that we entertain ourselves by talking about our AA and AAA prospects and how great they're doing. This is the turning point is this year. It is. And they need to get a bat. And when people say, like you were saying last week, I think it's more about next year. I disagree with that. I think if you're this organization, like if it was the Phillies or if it was the Orioles or if it was the Yankees or, or even the Guardians or the Twins. And we were texting the last couple of days where I said, look, man, the Orioles have the 6th lowest payroll in baseball and the #1 farm system. You can do it with a team that doesn't want to spend money. The Twins have done it. The Royals have done it. Hell, the A's did it years ago.
You can do it, but keep in mind, there's probably about, let's say 15 or less teams that are kind of in that vicinity. And, every couple years, it's just 1 or 2 teams is doing it well. It's not easy to do well.
No, but the Pirates have never done it well.
Right. You need good baseball people.
That's it.
Good evaluators. And the one other thing I would disagree with you, though, is, part of the exercise of reading, the lineup 6 through 9 there, and it's really more than that. They don't need a bat. They need 5 bats. And that's the problem. I mean, honestly, one bat is not going to be astronomical. I mean, you can sit there and you could say, okay, well, if they had 1 bat, and that guy hit a home run yesterday, a solo shot, so that Paul Skenes left with a 2-1 lead instead of it being 1-1. That doesn't guarantee that they're going to win that game.
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
But that would be a second bat if they went out and got another person.
Right.
And the reality is, I think Tristan Jarry can play catcher.
Tristan Jarry?
Yeah, that's what.
It's Yo Carey says, "Can Tristan Jarry play baseball?"
Play catcher,
asking for a friend.
I don't think he can hit any worse than 187.
Yeah, that's probably he could probably bat 200. He can hit the Mendoza line.
So it's a good idea. Maybe they can borrow him until the season starts in August.
Yeah.
Or maybe the Penguins are willing to trade him.
Well, where I was going with that, Schwaber, is that with this organization, this is the year, yes, you're right. The Pirates need more than 1 bat because you got to have more than 1 threat in the lineup. Right. If they had 2 or 3 good batters,
they'd have more of a
that changes that trajectory. But this is the year that they have to make a commitment to making that lineup worthy of the pitching they have, because who knows next year whether Jared Jones is going to come back. Right. I mean, who knows whether he's going to be pitched this well in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
We see guys where the second half of the season changes things, for better or for worse. Some guys start slow, finish fast. So this is the year they have to make a move. And if they don't make a move that is a good move, meaning like really make a commitment, you're going to lose some of these guys too. I mean, do you think Paul Skenes wants to go out? I mean, right now he wants to go out there every game and prove that he's Paul Skenes. But do you think he wants to go out there by the end of this year? He's going to want to go out there and be like, I'm going to leave with a 1-0 lead at the end of 6 innings with 9 strikeouts, and we're only going to score 1 run. He'll
be fine. I don't think Skenes thinks like that.
Not right now.
No,
not right now.
I don't think he will ever think like that. I think he is that guy that wants to go out there and dominate every time, and you're never going to hear him complain about run support.
You're probably right about
I think he's that type of pitcher.
Yeah, the early reports.
And here's the only thing I have to say about this year. I think it would be foolish to go out and get a guy just for this year. If you're going to get a guy, you don't just get him for this year. You have him and you sign him for the future.
Well, that's the guy in Chicago. He would be under club control.
He's young enough. So you're talking about a guy who's maybe 26, the 28.
Yeah.
Not a 30 or 32-year-old Reynolds for this year.
Right.
And you give up your prospects
Right.
for. Screw that guy.
There's a kid in Oakland who's like 26 years old. His OPS is like 850. I just can't remember his name.
You go and get a guy like that, and then you sign him.
Right.
And then next year in the offseason, you sign the big contract. So now you have 3 or 4 bats if you feel like somebody like Connor Joe or O'Neal Cruz can be the 5th guy.
Yeah.
And then you have bats.
Yeah.
And then you have pitching. And then you can talk about winning in the division and not sneaking in this stupid wild card play-in round.
Yeah.
That's what the Pirates need to do. Let's see if they do it.
We're going to see, we got about 5 weeks and things are heating up, and we'll see where they are, July 20th. We'll know what they're going to do.
Look,
or if it's going to be anything,
you know me. I hate baseball and I hate this Pittsburgh Pirate team.
Well,
but I recognize this is an opportunity for them and the franchise and the city. So that's what I want everybody to know. Be passionate about.
Let's clarify this, though. We know the moment you decided you hated baseball.
I think,
and his name,
true fans know.
His name is Sid Bream. Yeah. That's the moment, because you did love baseball before that. You loved watching the Pirates because they were good.
And they were committed to winning.
Right.
Brian Reynolds got a hit streak extended.
There you go.
The 19th or the 20th.
Okay, you're watching the Sports Porch podcast. You're watching it live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. And of course, you can catch the Sports Porch podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. Let's move on here. Actually, let's
get to the important.
Are we going to get to do we want to talk a little Steelers real quick before we go Stanley Cup here and Schwaber makes his prediction?
I don't know if there's anything to talk about.
Well, other than the fact that this whole Brandon Aiyuk thing is starting to fire up again, and there was something about that whole situation where
he's meeting with the team today.
He's meeting with the 49ers. Yeah. So we'll see what comes out of that. But I had a gut feeling that this saga is not over, because I'm feeling really good about the and Yoho takes us back to, how about not getting rid of Garrett Cole? That's ancient history, Yoho. I mean, he's gone. Okay, he's a Yankee now. All of the talk about the Steelers this year and their offense, and the Russell Wilson signing and drafting all the offensive linemen and signing, Patrick Queen on defense, it all points to a better team. It really does, for me anyway. And I think, though, that at the wide receiver position, the Achilles heel is there. I am not sold on George Pickens being a number 1 receiver. I am sold on the fact that the guy can catch just about anything thrown at him.
Yeah.
But I'm not sold on him being the every down. He's the go-to guy every game, 6 catches, 110 yards or more, and a score. I'm not sold on that.
Nobody should be, because he's not a proven commodity.
That's exactly right.
But he does have a better arm throwing him the ball.
That's exactly right.
Supposedly has a better offensive scheme to get him the ball.
Hopefully.
And he doesn't have to worry about crybaby Deontay Johnson complaining that he's not getting.
Yeah, but George Pickens he's demonstrated the ability to be a little bit of a crybaby.
He is, but now he will be the only crybaby.
Now he's got no excuse.
So, yeah, and he'd be the only target, really, the only real target.
But that presents issues, because he'll be double covered.
Maybe. I mean, you're right. Those are all things to be worried about, which is why they should just go and sign Aiyuk.
Right. Right. So,
all right.
My goodness gracious! Somebody,
this is what happens.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen
on the Greenfield porch.
Somebody's celebrating.
There it is. Either that or somebody's stealing a Jeep. Anyway,
that or they're saying, "Shut up."
Yeah, you guys are too loud. You guys down there are too loud. All right, so yeah, I think the Brandon Aiyuk situation is an interesting one.
I just say let it fall out. If he comes to the Steelers, great.
That changes things for me, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it should mean that the Steelers should be more of a favorite in a division that's still wide open.
Yeah, still wide open.
But I don't think they should necessarily be the favorites. I still think them, Cincinnati, and Baltimore all have equal chance of winning this division.
Yeah, well, we're only a few weeks away from our predictions, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I agree.
By the way, a little breaking hockey news. Goaltender Olmark is traded to the Senators.
Oh, that's a great place for him to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Senators suck.
Well, and this is a perfect segue.
No, actually, the Senators
player.
have some really good young talent. That could be a really good signing for them, actually.
Mhm.
This is the perfect segue into our next segment here on the Sports Porch Black and Gold, which is
The Grand Schwabini.
oh, are we going to do we're going to do
Yeah,
the
let's start
prediction
with
before
the
we
Grand-
talk about?
Yeah, no, let's start with the Grand Schwabini.
All right. That means I have to type. So the Grand Schwabini is going to make a prediction. He makes a prediction every show,
It's Stanley Cup final time.
and it is Stanley Cup final time, and we have a Game 7 tonight, Edmonton in Florida.
In
What
Sunrise.
an incredible rebound by the Oilers. We'll get to that with HJ,
Historic.
but I think the Grand Schwabini has a prediction around Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final.
I do.
And we don't have the lamp for you, so maybe you should rub your pink bottle.
Oh, yeah. Rub the
Why don't you rub that pink tube? There he is.
He's rubbing it.
Is it good? Is
The
it
Grand
is,
Schwabini sees the future.
okay?
It doesn't matter if the lamp is here or not. The
Does it-
lamp is up here. And the Grand Schwabini has some bad news for you, Edmonton Oilers fans.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
I think-
Canada. Don't do it to Canada.
I think you just don't beat Sergei Bobrovsky 4 games in a row. You don't do it. You get the home crowd behind you. You score a goal early. You get a 2-goal lead. Edmonton chips one in late in the second. You go to the third and you get that empty netter and you win the cup 3-1. And guess what, Edmonton? All that for nothing. Sorry.
Wow. That's a shocker. That's a shocker.
Yeah, I love the sorry at the end of that.
Oh, yep.
So the Grand Schwabini predicts the Florida Panthers will win Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals to bring the cup to Sunrise. And Yoho says Florida blowout 8-1. The crowd will go nuts.
They would go nuts, Yo, Carrie.
Mhm.
And your wife wishes that you could predict lottery numbers.
I am not very good at that. I will tell you.
But he's honing his skill
Yeah.
there.
I am
So
honing
there
my
is
skill.
hope for the future.
I've had a few successes lately, some scratch offs. One was $5 and I won 60.
You know what
Well-
you know what he says? He says, just keep scratching.
That's Gus.
Oh, my
That is
God,
not me.
Gus.
That is Gus.
Yeah,
not
that's
the
what I'm
Grand
saying.
Schwabini.
Please.
Yeah, but you know who Gus is.
The Gus and Grand Schwabini are different folks.
I know, but Gus just wants you to just keep scratching.
Gus is
Right.
slightly hairy.
I don't think you have any right to speak on behalf of Gus.
I don't.
No.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Let
Let's-
alone. That's
let-
that's for the future cast.
Okay,
Can the hockey Jesus tell the
Yes.
Grand Schwabini why he is wrong?
Amen.
All right. The Hockey Jesus preaches on the Sports Porch Black and Gold podcast after every single regular Penguin season's game. And during the playoffs, he preaches after most playoff series. And during the Stanley Cup Finals this year, he has given his sermon after every single game. And I don't think there is anybody more excited for this Game 7 on the planet
Oh yeah, there are.
than Hockey Jesus. Well, maybe a few.
There are. I mean, let's face
Maybe.
it. If you're a fan of Edmonton or Florida and you're at the game, you're more excited for the game than I am sitting on the porch. However, I think that the Grand Schwabini failed to take into account that Game 6 actually does mean something. And by winning Game 6, and I know that they won, the 2 previous to that also.
It's because he hasn't been listening to your updates after the games,
Well, Game 6,
which I have been.
Game 6
By the
is
way.
I see the future. I don't need to do that.
is
Okay.
vitally important. But it is true in a Game 7, all momentum goes out the window. It's one game. Everything that you've done up to this point doesn't matter.
True.
It really comes down to who's going to score the first goal. And honestly, if you're looking at that, Edmonton has scored the first goal in 5 of the last 6 games. So I think that is a good reason to predict that Edmonton will do it again. Now, however, they did get 2 shorties in that span. So I don't believe that it will be a shorty, But I do believe that somebody like Connor Brown or even Cody Ceci will get a dumb bounce and it'll go in. It'll just be one of those dumb goals that'll just deflate the whole arena, and you just have to hold on after that, really.
I think one of the interesting things that I thought, and when I listened to the Hockey Jesus update after Game 6, was the fact that Connor McDavid did not have a shot.
Not a shot
on a goal or an assist. He scored no points.
0 points.
Secondary scoring, something you preach all the time, is what won that game.
Well, that in their penalty kill. You know that they've killed. They're basically a -1 on the power play,
right,
on the penalty kill, and that's never been done in the history of the league to have that good of a percentage of a penalty kill.
Wow.
And honestly, I think that really is what has propelled Edmonton to do well. Everybody thinks Connor David is the reason, and he is the reason why they're excelling, but he's not been the catalyst. The catalyst has been the shorties. It's been the secondary scoring, and it's actually been timely saves from the guy you don't like, Skener. And those three things have really allowed McDavid to take the pressure off of him. And when that guy can skate and look at the ice and see a player, forget about it. It's over. When he presses and he's got to be that guy, he's not that good yet. I think he can be, by the way, but he's not that guy yet. So that's what it's going to come down to. And honestly, I have no idea how Carter Verhaeghe got to be a -14 in the series.
Wow.
It's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
He has just been terrible.
Awesome.
Sorry.
Amazing.
And so for that reason, I am definitely taking Edmonton. I didn't think Edmonton could make it the whole way back, honestly. But remember at the very beginning of this Stanley Cup final, I thought that Edmonton would get their game early and they would win 4 out of 5. I'm not wrong if they win this, because they just did it on the back end. They won the last 4 in a row, really, when you think about it.
Well, it
is,
is.
And that's where I thought they would start, because they played Dallas so well. I thought that would propel them into this series, but they had to work out some cobwebs. And honestly, you have to give Knobloch, Edmonton's coach, props.
Chuck Knobloch?
Not Chuck Knobloch.
Oh, okay.
Chris.
I know.
Chris Knobloch. Okay.
Yeah, all right.
You have to give him some props, because him moving Vogel from the second line to the first line and benching Evander Kane, brilliant. That's what actually started the catalyst for all this. Yeah. Kane was horrible. He was absolutely terrible in the first 3 games. He benched him. He hasn't seen the ice yet, and I don't even know if they win that they'll put his name on the cup.
To use
they will.
To use a beautiful Christian lyric, Edmonton once was lost, but now they're found.
Now they're found.
They were blind, but now they see.
But you picked Florida.
Isn't that in a U2 song too?
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Oilers.
See, I knew that you would identify with the wretch.
Thank you.
Well,
I
can't top that.
So I just think it's great. First time since 1944 that a team that was down 3-0 forced a Game 7.
That's right.
That
team did not win, but the 42 team that came back did win, and that was the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, and I am on the Edmonton bandwagon only because I picked Edmonton to win the cup, and I love an underdog. So let's go.
Either
Oilers.
way, we'll get this will be Florida's first cup if they win. So it'll be quite a party in Sunrise if they do manage to pull it off after almost blowing it.
Maybe we'll send Hockey Jesus down to Sunrise to.
Is that the name of the town where they play?
Yeah.
Sunrise.
So
it's close to Miami. It's close to Miami.
Sunrise, Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
It's like
Sunrise.
in nowhere land down there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you, Hockey
it was
Jesus.
Cheaper there.
Right.
We will, of course, get an update after the game, either tonight or tomorrow morning. And then we're off to the NHL draft.
Oh, my God. This
free
week
agency,
is crazy.
And we look forward to hearing more of those. Hockey Jesus preaches on the podcast after every single Penguins regular season game and all during the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs.
Woohoo!
I smell something.
You are, remember, we dropped the Sports Porch Black and Gold podcast on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcast. And guess what? Now you can hear us on Radio PGH, our radio station. I'm going to put the logo up there. All you got to do is say, hey, Alexa, play Radio PGH.
Don't say it too
How about
loud.
that?
It'll start playing.
Say it isn't so.
Say it isn't so.
No, it is so.
It is so, actually. It is so. So next segment on the podcast is
I want a biscuit.
nope. Stump the Enzer.
Oh.
We got to stump the Enzer.
Oh,
I got
I have a feeling I'm getting stumped.
I got a good one for it. No, there is no way you're getting. If you get stumped on this one, I'm telling you,
Something's wrong.
there is
Too
totally
much
something wrong.
sassafras.
Okay, so Stump the Yinzer. What is this? Our resident Yinzer here, Hockey Jesus, with the Pittsburgh shirt on. If you're watching, his family's full of Yinzers. He likes to. He did get a little Metro when we were in college. He tried to do that
a little bit.
He tried. But I
Tried to
don't-
branch out.
You know, like they
I
say,
got a pair of glasses.
you can
Is that
take
good enough?
you can take the
Maybe look
Yinzer.
more intelligent.
You can take the Yinzer out of Pittsburgh, but you can't take the Pittsburgh Yinzer out of the guy.
Mhm.
Right? Isn't that what they say? Something like
I
that.
don't know.
Yeah.
Just
No,
close
but
enough.
it's true.
What's the
Whatever you said,
question?
it's true.
It is true. So if we don't stump the Yinzer, our resident Grand Schwabini here gets a chance to become an honorary Yinzer for a week. If he can answer the question.
I'm going to let him have this one.
Here is the question. No, you
Lay it
can't
out.
do that.
Okay,
I'll know.
all right.
Gary Anderson, the legendary Steelers kicker, was picked up in 1982 after being cut by which team?
That's really hard.
Well, let's see.
It's not, if you think about it.
God,
if you
think about.
think about it.
Yeah. Who cut Gary Anderson? And the Steelers said, we'll take you.
Well, it definitely wasn't Minnesota because he went to Minnesota
Yeah.
after.
Do you want to
I got to guess.
No,
I gotta
it's
guess.
it's an AFC team, right?
I got to guess.
Yes, it's an AFC team.
I got to guess it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am going to go with.
That guy in the GMC truck?
Oh man, that's a monster.
That
truck
is a
there.
big, that's a Pittsburgh truck. Go
Oh
ahead.
yeah, that's
Okay.
a monster truck. I'm going to go with. Let's see. It would have been in the 80s. Who was good in the 80s? Let's go with the Bills, Buffalo Bills.
I am going to go with the Cleveland Browns,
My God.
along with my wife.
Buffalo
Amy Mae.
Bills.
Okay.
Are we close?
One
did
of
it?
you was right
Uh-oh.
and one of you was wrong. You will find out right now.
Oh,
He got it.
I'm
How
still.
the hell did you get it?
The Yinzer got it.
What the hell did that have to do? Why should he know that?
Yeah,
I don't know. Because Gary Anderson is like the greatest kicker they ever had. He's
I
a Hall
know,
of
but
Famer.
honestly,
At the
I
time,
thought
he
they
was their
drafted
points
him.
leader.
I
Yeah.
thought they drafted him. To be
Yeah,
honest
but
with you.
yeah, but you just said like, oh, you should know. Like that would have to be, oh, it's the Cleveland team that
Well, I
screwed up.
No, I
just
said you should-
went with the team that I thought was pretty good.
I
The Bills were pretty good then,
I
and I
gotcha.
just
I said
that was
no,
my luck.
I said you should know because you're a hardcore Steelers fan,
Well, there you
and
go.
he's like the greatest kicker in Steelers history.
Mm.
So Amy guessed Cleveland, and Yoho's son actually he guessed Buffalo. He
All
probably-
right, that's
He
my
probably
man.
looked it
Yo,
up. He probably looked it up.
I should-
Okay, so
you know,
Steve gets to be the Yinzer for the week.
I don't get to look stuff up, and I'm not even allowed to look at comments when this comes around. so.
That's true. All right, next segment up here.
I
This
still
is
smell something.
this is something that I think everybody's going to enjoy tonight.
The hockey game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, biscuit.
I love it.
This is
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Don't get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings.
I laugh at the end of that every time. This is
You have to.
Trader Joe's snack time this week. Trader Joe's, everybody knows I work at Trader Joe's, so they did not pay us and they are not an official sponsor of the show, but I did get permission to do this, so we have a lot of fun with it. What we do is we try a Trader Joe product that I bring, and then we give our honest opinion about it. We've had some good ones. We've had some not so good ones.
Yeah.
I do know that the bulgogi that we tried once is now one of Mark's favorites that he purchases.
It was
that
good.
Amy purchases.
It was
there all the
Good.
time.
It was
Yeah.
good.
It was good.
Yeah. So this week we are trying Buffalo chicken poppers.
Oh, how hot is it?
I have no idea. I have no idea. But
I got my tea.
I will read you. Trader Joe's Buffalo-style chicken poppers combine all the flavors associated with Buffalo-style chicken wings for a poppin' appetizer you can bake and serve anytime you like. Grilled and diced white meat chicken is mixed with cream cheese, fontina cheddar, and Monterey Jack, along with hot cayenne pepper sauce to create a tender, cheesy, spicy filling. That filling is folded into layers of delicate phyllo dough and then battered before it's finally fried to a perfectly crisp bite.
I can tell you.
I like the fact we're going phyllo.
Let's just go for it. I apologize. I did not bring out the ranch.
All right.
And you know what else would be good with these? Curly's buffalo sauce. I bet be good.
Yeah.
With
yeah.
So these are just the basic chicken poppers.
Well,
And
here
you can see them right there. You air fried these for 5 minutes.
Air fried 5 minutes, 380. Look, they're not as thick as advertised, by the way, people.
I actually like them.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We sell a lot of these. They are spicy. You feel that spice?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good spice though. I don't think they're too hot.
You know what I think makes it? The phyllo dough.
Yeah, it does.
I would have put these in for 10 minutes at 380.
Really good.
I like them
really...
a little bit more crispy.
Well, maybe your wife can heat them back up for you.
Oh, well,
after you tell her.
I think you and Mark are going to eat them before we even leave the porch. So I think that's a done deal. Yeah. They are spicy.
It's too hot, but it is very good.
Yeah,
these are very
show
good.
the people.
I would say as advertised.
As advertised, absolutely. Buffalo chicken poppers, Trader Joe's product of the week.
Good little appetizer before a football game.
Definitely a good appetizer before or during a football game or a Stanley Cup 7 final game.
All right, so we're giving a thumbs up to this week's Trader Joe's product of the week.
I give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Wow, that's high praise.
And I think they would be even better if
a little more crispy.
A little more crispy.
How about you?
I think they were perfect.
10 out of 10.
No. I mean, I'm just going to go 8.5 because I couldn't eat a lot because it's spicy.
Okay. Yeah, I think the ranch or the blue cheese dressing would have brought that heat down.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I'm going to give them an 8 out of 10. Yeah, I'm going to give them an 8 out of 10. So there you go. Our Trader Joe's snack time product of the week.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce.
That's right.
Don't get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings.
All right. There it is. Okay, last segment. Woo! And before we get to our last segment, I want to thank you.
I'm still tasting that spice.
Oh, yeah.
You're watching the Sports Porch live right now all over the world on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. Thank you very much. And remember, you can catch the Sports Porch podcast right after this show when we drop it into the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. Yes. Carey says the Reds are kicking our butt in the fourth, so there must be a score change.
Skenes or Jones are not pitching,
or Keller.
Right, it's Falter. Well, tonight
he was pitching well,
but I told you he would falter.
As
the season would go on.
I have warned all my buddies down at Trader Joe's that are Phillies fans. I have warned them, or that are Pirates fans. I have warned them,
and Phillies fans,
that being a former Philly and having a very good friend as a Phillies fan, he warned me that Falter is great one half and bad the other half.
That's exactly right.
So what we're watching tonight, this is something that we enjoy doing.
He's now over 4 in his ERA.
Okay, well, there you go. What's the score?
4-1 they're losing.
4-1. Okay, well,
we know
that the game's lost now.
Lots of time. Bottom of the fourth.
What we're watching is what we're streaming or watching. The rules are you have to have completed the entire movie, documentary, or at least the season of the show you're watching. That popper sauce is still like in my throat.
Woo!
Yeah. There's some pink juice over there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
pink juice is out.
We're
I'm in trouble.
We're gonna start with HJ again tonight. HJ is watching
This is called Nyad.
On Netflix.
Yep. Do you know who?
I saw the preview for this.
Yeah.
How was this?
It was actually excellent.
Was it?
It's a movie.
Yeah, it's a movie
True
about
story.
Diana Nyad.
Okay.
You might have remembered her. She was a 1980s Olympic swimmer. I think she actually won some gold medals back in the 80s, maybe even the 84 Olympics. Anyway, excellent swimmer. And then she decided that she was just going to swim bodies of water across things because her last name, Nyad, means like swimming nymph or something like that.
Mhm.
And so,
Wow.
so like she was ingrained from the time she was little that she was going to be a great swimmer from her dad. So she was, and this is a movie about her when she's much older, in her 60s, and at that time she already swam across the English Channel,
Mhm.
and she tried to swim from Cuba to Florida, but failed.
Mhm.
Mm.
And it was
Well,
like
that's like 30 miles or 60 miles or something, right?
90, right?
it's longer than that.
Yeah.
It's I want to make sure I get this right. It's like 30 hours in the water straight.
Mhm.
Wow.
So it's like over 60 miles.
Yeah.
And
The English
depending-
Channel is 3 miles.
No, it's like 10 or 11 miles or something.
I don't know. It's okay.
It's
You don't know
much
your
smaller.
channels.
I don't know my channels.
You
You don't know your
channel.
geography. Go
Yeah.
watch a geography show.
Okay, I'll do
Okay.
that.
And anyway, so she tried it when she was younger, and it always haunted her. And she has this best friend Bonnie, and she's gay, and there's maybe her and Bonnie are like a thing, but they
Right.
never are a thing. They're just friends,
Right.
that sort of thing. So you have that,
On the commercial, she and Jodie Foster were playing ping pong.
right? Exactly.
And that's enough to
Jodie
suggest that they're
Foster.
gay.
I'm just telling you. I'm rolling with what he said.
I mean, is
No,
ping pong
no.
like a secret sign?
No, it's not.
I just said
It's not.
pointing out
I'm
what
not
was on the
playing ping
preview.
pong with
Can
either
I
of you
get
guys.
to the story?
Sure, go ahead.
So Annette Bening plays Nyad, and Jodie Foster plays Bonnie, and they're really great together. Like they you can tell they're like good
Two
friends.
good actors.
And they've been friends for like 35 years, right?
Mhm.
So she got to know her after her swimming career was kind of over. And she was like going through all this trauma about not being able to swim. And they always have these fights about, well, why don't you do something about it? So she jumped in the pool when she was 60 and said, I think I want to swim from Cuba to Florida. And she's like 60 years old.
Okay, so does she do it?
She actually does it.
I mean,
Yes.
why not just get one of those lap pools?
Well, you should have said spoiler alert.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess the whole point of the movie wouldn't be that she.
No,
like,
you can look it up.
and then
It's
she
a real.
didn't do it.
It's a real story. Like
You could have gone into it thinking maybe she won't.
yeah.
Well,
but
then
could
you
always
wouldn't
just
know
look it
your
up.
history.
Yeah.
Because,
Mhm.
Yeah, what I want to know
here's
is
why you want to watch the movie. The acting between those two are great.
Yeah.
They assemble a team of like the guy who drives the boat, and
Mhm.
like they had to get a doctor because
Right.
you get bit
Mhm.
by a box
Shark.
jellyfish and you're dead. They had to get these young guys.
well,
to,
you don't
like,
need a
fight off
doctor
sharks.
if you're dead
no,
because
but
you're dead.
no, they got like the best box
Right.
box jellyfish doctor on the planet who said, this is why you don't get stung.
What do you do? I'm a jellyfish doctor.
Literally.
I love Steve's description
Yeah.
of these shows.
But
yeah.
so she assembled this great team, and
Yeah.
then like on the time before she doesn't do it, she basically pisses everybody off, and they said, we're done, you're a bitch, go to hell.
Yeah.
And then she figures out she can't do it without them. They're reassembled, and she finally does it.
And
And
she
by
does
the
it.
way, all of it really has to do is with luck on how the streams in the Gulf move,
Mhm.
because you can't do it if the Gulf Stream is going this way. You will absolutely get swept away. You have to have the perfect Gulf Stream that decides that instead of do this across, it goes this in the floor.
Oh.
Well,
And
I'll
you're
keep
in.
that in mind the next time I try to swim from
Dude, could
Florida
you
to Cuba.
imagine
Thank you.
swimming for 30 hours straight?
Mm-mm.
Like when they showed
Mm-mm.
like
I couldn't imagine playing ping pong.
at the end when they showed the video of her like in real life,
Yeah.
she looked like a damn zombie.
Well,
Well,
Yeah.
it seems very unappealing to me.
No, you definitely want to watch it for the relationship.
I want to know.
banner, and It's like a really uplifting spiritual.
Did Susan watch
message.
this film with you?
She definitely will watch the.
Oh, she will watch.
It's a movie you want to watch with Amy.
Oh, okay.
It will bring you together.
Yeah.
It will bring us together.
I promise.
It's not
Okay.
a movie I will watch with Lauren.
It's about love.
Yeah. No, not because of that. I want to know if their relationship progressed from ping pong to pickleball.
There was no pickleball.
If it had
being
been
played.
filmed a little later, pickleball
Yeah.
might have been in it.
Because remember,
because that to me
actually,
that
I
would have
think
been
she
like
just-
definitely lesbians.
I think she did it in like 2013.
I think pickleball was around then. I just don't think.
I don't
Not
think
a lot of
it
people
was
knew
I think it
about
was a
it.
fringe sport.
Not a lot of
Yeah.
people knew about it.
Like
Well,
cornhole.
Yeah.
It was very private. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like cornhole. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which couldn't
So,
be a worse.
2
name for a
thumbs up
sport.
to Nyad. I
All
just did it on a whim. It was like one of those.
Yeah.
Hey, this is like a 90%
Mhm.
match.
Yeah.
You should absolutely be watching this.
They sought you
I
out.
had an hour and a half.
They sought you out. They said,
All right.
They said, this is for you, buddy.
HJ Nyad on Netflix. Okay, the Grand Schwabini is watching or watched something on I believe it was Netflix as well.
Mm-hmm. The Trial. This was
Any pickleball or ping pong?
no
in this?
pickleball, no ping pong.
Okay.
This was a limited series, 8 episodes. So kind of like a nice little watch. You could do it over a couple days or like a week.
Right.
And of course, it was Italian. So, you have your choice. You can listen to it in Italian or you can listen to it in the dubbed over English where the words don't match what they're saying.
hate that. I hate that.
It's
If I watch it, I'll watch it in Italian. I don't mind the
Okay.
subtitles.
yeah, they get you. They really get to you when
Do
they
they?
do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what do you
Yeah.
mean?
Like that really bothers you.
What, the dubbing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate
bothers
that.
you.
It bothers me.
Yeah.
You can't
but-
watch a lot of shows then.
but, like,
there are a
it
lot
hurts
of
me.
shows like
But
that.
why?
Because I'm not smart enough to match up the lips and the words. I don't know.
I know. It's just
I don't
saying it's a flaw.
It is a flaw.
But anyway, I digress. No, a good story. I mean, essentially, somebody goes to jail for a murder, and you're pretty much trying to guess throughout.
Wait a minute. Let me guess.
So,
And then there's a trial,
You got it.
and then they think that maybe he really didn't do it, and he swears he's innocent,
Mm-hmm.
and then he falls in love with his lawyer, and then like she's on his side, and she finds out there's some things that probably point to the fact that he's innocent, and then lo and behold, in the end, he either did it or he didn't.
he didn't.
Well, the fact that you said that he didn't or didn't means you're right.
Right? Exactly. I told you. I know all
But,
about this show. I don't need to watch it at all. Actually, I'll just watch it. I'll
Right.
turn the sound off.
The area where you'd probably want to start was though it's a she, so it's not a he.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I'm
Um,
getting confused with all this
but-
gender misdirection.
But
going on, so.
basically what we're talking about
Good
here.
point.
Yeah, true.
What we're talking about here is, somebody goes to jail for murder, and there's the trial for are they guilty of murder?
That wasn't a penalty.
And it is difficult I would say it is pretty difficult to determine who the murderer is, which makes it, an interesting show.
What part of Italy is it in? Rome?
Rome. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they eat spaghetti?
No.
Not a lot of
But they
eating.
serve
Not a lot of
pizza.
eating.
No.
Not a lot of eating.
Do they spend time at little coffee shops?
Cappuccino.
I love it.
Maybe there's a scene or two.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there is a scene where there's cappuccino.
Is there a chase scene around the Coliseum?
No.
No chase scene.
No
I
chasing.
guess that was a
I
penalty.
actually saw this on the upcoming or
Uh-huh.
whenever it was,
Yeah.
and I'm interested in it. So
It's good.
will
I think
probably
you'll
watch
like it. It's good.
The trial.
Okay, the
Yeah.
Grand Schwabini, The Trial on Netflix.
By the way, Florida's going on a power play,
Okay, so
which means a shorty could happen.
I
again.
watched something that Steve watched.
Oh, let's go.
So I am a non-selfish watcher
This
this
week.
week.
Oh, wait, that probably means. This is not good for me and my bet.
I don't think it is because Dancing for the Devil is
Damn
a
it.
documentary.
I owe Schwab $10.
Wait a minute. Didn't you
No, Steve reviewed it.
Oh, Steve reviewed it. Now
Steve
you're
reviewed
reviewing it.
I watched Dancing for the Devil. Yoho Sana is now giving us an update on the Pirates score, 5-2 Reds. Dancing for the Devil on Netflix.
What did you think?
it's not over yet. You know what I mean? Like I finished the documentary, the episodes. The interesting thing is that a couple years back, my wife actually used to be a ballet dancer.
Right.
And she, on TikTok, she watched these two kids, Miranda Derrick and the dude.
Yeah, right.
And she would show me the videos and I would be like, wow, they're unbelievable. Having no idea about what the background was. So the background about how she wanted to be a dancer and moved to LA with her sister, and they had a huge TikTok following, and and then the weird Korean preacher, and then the allegations of sexual abuse, and all of that stuff. But then then after I watched the documentary, then of course I got curious and I got on TikTok,
and they're still out there.
Well, not only that, I saw a bunch of TikTok videos with both the mom and the two sisters on again celebrating Mother's Day. And I thought, hey, what's going on? Maybe they're, and then it's this whole thing about how the church is telling them, go be with your family so they're not so curious. And but the interesting thing is, what's her name? Melanie hold on. Melanie Wilkinson. Is that her sister?
Yeah, Melanie.
You know who she's married to?
No.
Austin Eckler.
Interesting.
She's married to Austin Eckler. Yeah.
Interesting.
The Commanders. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so far you've said a whole bunch of stuff and I know nothing. So you want to try to get to the point?
Well,
the point is the story continues.
You're not even paying attention to the show. You're watching a Pirates game on your phone. And you're watching the Phillies game on your phone, and you're watching the Stanley Cup Finals.
But we are on the porch.
Yeah, we are on the porch. You're right.
And it is sports time.
That's what being on the porch is all about.
Well, what I have to say about
Florida got the first goal.
Oh, what I have
to say, power play.
What I have to say about
I'm watching it in delay. Then
what I have to say
might have been right after the power play. I don't know.
Oh,
what
it was a tip. Yeah, it was a tip.
It's
done.
A documentary about people dancing.
That's exactly
right. You want to watch it? Check it out.
I can't do it. I tried 15 times to break in and say it, but no.
It wasn't a power play goal, though.
Sports is the priority. All right, listen. Thanks, guys, for watching the Sports Porch Black and Gold edition all over the world on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X. And we drop the podcast right after the show. Yes, we do. We drop the podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. You can always listen to us on Radio PGH. And you can catch the Sports Porch YouTube channel at the Sports Porch Podcast. Thanks for being here. I am your technical director, and I am out.
Jablonsk.
Oh, I forgot to hit